Good morning. I am Dr. PM Shanthi, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Information Technology, JJ College of Arts and Science, Pudukkottai. Now we have to discuss about the courses of OOAD and UML. Um, Specifically, we have to discuss about for object-oriented methodologies. Object-oriented methodologies in 1986 to 1994. Various authors developed the methodologies. First one in 1986, Booch developed the object-oriented concept. And then after that, 1987, Charlie Seller and Steve Miller created the concept of a recursive design approach. And in 1989, Beck and Cunningham produced a class responsibility collaboration cards, and 1990, Reeves, Brock, and Wilkinson and Weiner came up with the responsibility derived design. 1991, Jim Roebuck led a team at the research labs of General Electric to develop the object modeling technique. In 1991, Peter Code and Jordan developed the code lightweight and a prototype-oriented approach to method. Finally, 1994, Ivar Jacobson introduced the concept of use case and object-oriented software engineering. There are three different methodology we can use it in the UML. First one is a Rombach et al. Object modeling technique. Second one, Bush methodology. Third one, Ivar Jacobson et al. Methodologies. Rombach et al. Object modeling technique. The object modeling technique, that is OMT, presented by Jim Rombach and his co-workers, describes a method for analysis, design, and implementation of a system using object-oriented technique. That is, OMT is a fast, intuitive approach for identifying and modeling all objects making up a system. Details such as classes, attribute, methods, inheritance, and association also can be expressed in easily. The dynamic behavior of an object within a system can be described using the object modeling technique dynamic model. In this model, specify detailed state transaction and their description within the system. Or object modeling system consists of four phases. The four phases are analysis, system design, object design, and implementation. Analysis, that is, the result or objects and the dynamic and the functional models. System design, the result or a structure of a basic architecture of the system along with high level strategy decisions. Object design, this phase it produces a design document consisting of detailed objects, static, dynamic, and functional model. And the next one, implementation, the activity produces reusable, extendable, and robust code. So object modeling technique consists of three parts. First one is an object model, dynamic model, and a functional model. Object model presented by the object model and the data dictionary. Next one, dynamic model presented by state diagram and event flow diagrams. Functional model presented by data flow and constraints. Object modeling technique, the three model. First one, the object model. The object model describes the structure of objects in a system, their identity, relationship to the other objects, attribute, and operations. It is represented as a graphical with an object diagram. In the object diagram contains classes. The classes are interconnected by association line. Each class represents a set of individual objects. The association lines establish relationship among the classes. Each association line represents a set of links from the object of one class to the another object class. Object modeling technique example we can use it for bank system. There are three classes we can use it. First one is a client, another one is a account, and then another one is a transaction. So the first one client, in the class you have a first name, last name, in code, and then account class you have a number, balance, and then another we can use it for deposit, withdraw, create transaction. So the transaction class we can given for translate, transtime, transtype, amount, post balance. The account class we can connected. It will be used for two processes. First one is a checking account. It is a correct or not. Suppose a checking account is a correct. So how to we can withdraw the amount? It is a we can take the amount in the savings account. Next one is the OMT dynamic model. The dynamic model, a detailed and comprehensive of dynamic model. Here we can use it for how many states, transactions, events, and action. The transaction diagram is a network of states and events. So how many states are there? Each and every state, what are the functions it will be use it. Each state receives one or more events at which time it makes a transaction to the next state. So each and every state we have to receive on the events, and then how it will be processed in the next state. The next state depends on the current state as well as the events. The state transaction diagram, first we have to take on the state that nothing is selected. So you have to select it on the particular account, that is another state. Account has been selected. The account has been selected. The particular account is checking the correct account or wrong account. Suppose the checking account is correct or savings account, automatically we have to transfer. We have to make a transaction type. So the transaction type we have to withdraw the amount or deposit or transfer the amount. So the transaction correct. We have to select any one option and we can enter the amount. The amount will be entered. The confirmation is confirmed automatically. We have to withdraw the amount or deposit the amount. The object modeling technique, functional model. The object modeling technique data flow diagram shows the flow of data between different processes in the business. And object modeling technique we have used for data flow diagram. It provides a simple and intuitive method for describing a business process without focusing on the details. There are four primary symbols we can use it: process, data flow, data store, and external entity. So in the object modeling technique functional model, we can take for us a ATM card reader. First one we have to take as a car as ATM. It is we have to check for as a ATM card reader. It will be check select a bank. The bank code is correct. We have to select on the card. So we can select on the bank and the card code is correct. Automatically we have to go on the next process. The card is valid or invalid. Suppose the select the bank account is not valid, automatically it will be given for the bad bank code. The select the card is valid, automatically you can enter the keyboard entry for the user. You can enter the password. The password we have to check the code authorization. The verify the password. The password is correct. Automatically we have to select the amount, the account type. Suppose the password is wrong, automatically we have to terminate the process. Again, you have to do the process. Suppose the card it will be selected correctly and the account is actually correctly, automatically enter the password. Password is correct. Automatically we have to check the balance. The balance already is there. We can withdraw the amount to process. There is a selection process, screen selection you can take. That is amount transaction type. The transaction type, which type you have to use it. This is deposit, or you can use it for as a withdraw amount, or we can check for as a balance inquiry, mini statement, whatever it is, you have to use it. So the process we can use it for oval symbol, and then parallel line it will be stored for in the data store, arrow it will be used for as a data flow, and then rectangle it will be used for the external entity. Bush methodology. The Bush methodology is widely used object-oriented method that helps to design and using object paradigm. Here we can use it for class and object diagram in analysis phase and refine these diagrams in various steps. The Bush consists of the following diagram: class diagram, object diagram, state transaction diagram, module diagram, process diagram, and interaction diagram. It will be considered for two processes. There is a macro development process and a micro development process. Macro development process is a conceptualization. That is, you have to, or which concept we can use it on the process. Analysis and the development of the model. So what is the concept we can use it? The particular requirements you have to collect and the development of the model. Design or create the system architecture. You have to design of your system, and you can create a model of your system. Evaluation or implementation depends upon your constraints are satisfied. You have to implement the process and maintains all the conditions are satisfied. You can get the result. Finally, you have to maintain. This is a macro development process. And the next one is the micro development process. There are four steps we have to use it. First one, identify the classes and objects. And the second one, identify the classes and the object semantics. Identify the classes and the object relationship. Identify the classes and the object interface and implementation. So example here we can use it for class and object diagram. There is a hierarchy level we can give. First one is a super class, is a higher class. So we can given for car is a super class. The properties here are color, manufacturer and the cast. It will be inherited for the Ford. The Ford it will be given for the Mustang, Taurus and then Escort. That's a inherit. The board will be given. And the next one we have to given for the state transaction diagram. We can given for us a alarm process. The operator we have to turn or off alarm. We have to silence. The two states are given: silence and sounding. Silence. The process is the sound alarm will be processed. There is the operator operate on the key automatically. We have to enable the system. It will be alarm will be enabled, or otherwise it will be disabled. So alarm it will be fixed whenever it is enabled. The alarm will be ring, or otherwise it will be silence mode. It will be activated. And then another one, the Jacobson et al. Methodologies. The Jacobson et al. Methodologies we can given for object-oriented business engineering, object-oriented software engineering, object-oriented, that is cover the entire life cycle and discuss traceability between the different phases, both forward and backward process. Here we can use it for three process. First one is the use cases. Second one, object oriented software engineering. There is a objectory. Then another one, object oriented business engineering. So in the use cases in the library information system, we can give an how many books are available. So we have to checking out the book details, and then getting an interlibrary loan. We can get the loan for the library, and then doing the research work. What are the materials are available, and then what is the new journals are available. Everything it will be given in the form. And then another one, reading books, newspaper, and then all the details will be. Another we have to, it is not available, you have to purchasing the suppliers. This is a use case. There are so many use cases we have to use it. That is checking out books, getting an interlibrary loan, doing research, reading books, newspaper, purchasing suppliers. The use case model defines the actors and use cases of the system behaviors, and the domain object model, the objects of the real world mapped into the domain object model. Analysis object model, the analysis represents how the source code it will be carried out for the return. And then implementation model that represents the implementation of the system. Test model it constitutes the test plan specifications and the reports. Next one, object-oriented business engineering. The business engineering, it will be given for the modeling the enterprise level. That is analysis phase. Analysis phase define the system to be built in terms to the problem domain object model. Then requirements model, analysis model. The analysis process do not take into the account the actual implementation environment. And then another one, design and the implementation phase. The design and implementation environment must be defined by the design model. It will be includes the facts such as database management system, distribution of process, constraints due to programming language, available component libraries, and incorporation of the graphical user interface tools. And the testing phases, there are several testing levels we can techniques are used. The levels include unit testing, integration testing, and system testing. So in this class we have to study about for the three methodologies, that is the Romback methodology, Boost methodology, and Ivor Jacobson methodology. Thank you.